All right, guys. Welcome to Earth Science. Sometimes I will do the video depending on, how much explanation I feel I need to do, and sometimes I'll just post a PowerPoint. Both times you are expected to copy the notes into your notebooks, which you should have, and come to class with questions so that I can clarify anything that is still bothering you in our live session. All right. So Um, I have to do this within 15-minute increments or it's not going to be free and I will not upgrade. Okay. So if I start talking too fast, and just pause and copy what you need to copy. And if I don't finish, then I'll just make another video finishing what we need to do. All right. So scientific method, as with any science course, it's where we start. Right? The scientific method is a process for experimentation that is used to explore observations and answer questions about the world. Right? There are several steps to the scientific method, as you should have gathered from the Amoeba Sisters. Ideally, this is how it goes, but this is not always how it goes. All right? Sometimes we find some results and we have to work backward and make a hypothesis about how this thing came to be. All right? So, yes, in a perfect world, we would see something, would make an observation, and then we'd ask a question, and then we'd research and do a hypothesis and make an experiment and go down the list. But science does not always work that way. All right. Scientists communicate their work in peer-reviewed journals, or they present them at science conferences. And so, may I say this to say, be careful where you get your scientific information from. Um, as we can tell, especially during this time, science is definitely informing or every move. I hope it is science that is behind the decisions that they're making, re schools, re society, re handling of this pandemic. Other buzzwords that you'll hear that relate to the scientific method: control, constant, qualitative, quantitative, independent, dependent, and so on. For how this usually presents itself on your quiz is sometimes they'll describe an experiment and they'll ask you to identify the parts, right? So the question here is, do plants grow larger with more fertilizer? So you have 3 plants and you're gonna conduct an experiment using these 3 plants, right? First you think about what you are going to change, right? So what am I going to change? What am I going to measure? The thing that I'm going to change, that's the independent variable. The thing that I'm going to measure, that's a dependent variable, right? You're going to you're going to change the amount of fertilizer and you're going to measure the plant growth, right? Some factors are going to stay the same. These are your constants. The amount of water given to each plant, the type of plant, the amount of soil each plant uses, the amount of sunlight it receives, the time that you run the experiment for. Control group is the group of an experiment that you don't change that group. It pretty much stays the same. So if you're testing how fertilizer affects plants, this is the group that doesn't have any fertilizer because that's the thing that you're going to need to come back and compare it to, right? How many times should you conduct an experiment? As many times as necessary. The more often an experiment can be duplicated and yield the same results, the more reliable it is. So for a few years now, I've been doing the hand sanitizer lab, and except for last year in biology, we yielded pretty consistent results about what works to clean your hands and what doesn't. And for all except 1 year, Dawn dish soap has been like one of the most effective things to clean your hand. Now, because that experiment has been repeated at least 6 times and yielded consistent results, then, we can say those results are pretty valid. I'm going to skip over this really quickly. These are just some tools that we may or may not use, but we'll definitely talk about. This is a triple beam balance. We're definitely not going to use that because there's not one at our school. A ruler, you know how to use a ruler. Graduated cylinder, make sure you're reading the bottom of the meniscus, right? The bottom of the curve, right? And tell me how much liquid is in this cylinder. Thermometer can be in Celsius or Fahrenheit, or can be in both. Look at this one and tell me how many degrees is showing. Accuracy and precision, right? Accuracy is how close something is to what it is supposed to be, right? So are you hitting the bullseye in the middle? Precision is how close measurements are to each other. So if I, let's say, give an experiment and, one class, everybody gets the results that I have, then everybody's accurate, everyone is precise. But let's say I set it up slightly different in another class and everybody gets the same results, but they're different from what I have, then they are precise, but they're not accurate. All right? So look at these. Take a moment to determine what's accurate, what's precise, and what's both. Right? It's both accurate and precise. It's neither accurate nor precise. And that is precise, but it's not accurate. Right? The metric system, the International System of Measurement, or the SI system, is where we use meters, grams, and liters instead of pounds and inches like they do here in America. The metric system works on the power of 10, so you can move a decimal place to the right or the left to convert pretty easily, right? Moving the decimal to the left makes the number smaller. Moving it to the right makes the number larger, right? And there's a cute little mnemonic to remember these. King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk, right? And so if you remember those, you remember where each thing falls. I'm going to use a pen. All right. So, practice. So you have 10 centimeters, which is right here, and you need to go to millimeters. So you're going to go to the right. Going to go to the right by 1. Oops. The next one is from hecto to deci. So you're going to go 1, 2, 3. So you're going to go 3 places over, and that's going to get you to 1,234. The next one, you're going from liter, and liter in this case is the basic unit, right? So that's here, and you're going to kilos. So you're going to go that way, right? So you're going to move 1, 2, 3 places that way, which should give you that, all right? And then the last one, you're going from grams, which again is another basic unit, right, to centi. So you're going 1, 2. You're going 2 places over. That should be grams to 1, 2, 3. That should be 0.056 grams to centi. 1, 2. All right. The shape of the Earth is called an oblate sphere. All right. An oblate spheroid. It bulges around the middle. The middle is where we have the equator. Okay. The Earth is about 4.5 billion years old. And there are 4 spheres to the Earth. Some sources will say 5. They'll include the cryosphere, but that's really just a part of the hydrosphere. All right, so we've got the atmosphere, the biosphere, the hydrosphere, and the lithosphere. All right, the atmosphere is the invisible blanket of gas that surrounds the Earth. It supports all life on Earth. It helps to regulate the temperature on Earth. The biosphere is all the living things, all plants, all animals. You should remember from biology that there are biotic and there are abiotic things, and they both live in balance. The hydrosphere is all the water on Earth, oceans, rivers, glaciers. Um, Earth is 71% water. Water is a universal solvent. It's found as solid, liquid, and gas. The lithosphere or the geosphere is the solid outermost shell on Earth. It includes the crust and the mantle, and Earth is made up of lithospheric plates. So draw this chart in your notes. I want you to take a moment to fill in what you think are some of the key features in some of these systems. Yeah. All right. Keyword for the atmosphere is air. Features are dust storms, clouds, hurricanes. Just 3, not the main 3, just 3. All right. Lithosphere or the geosphere. The keyword is land. We've got mountains, volcanoes, impact craters. The hydrosphere, hydro is water, got lakes, oceans, and glaciers. And the biosphere, that's life, plankton, coral reef, forest. All right, there you go. So take a pause and fill that in. Draw the table, fill it in. All right, latitude. I'm actually going to stop here, guys, because the time is running. So I'm going to stop here and I'm going to do a part 2 to this video.